But this is different. This is you just decline because you feel lonely, and then you just avoid the people. And sometimes you do want to go to that place, but something tells you, hey, like you feel like you shouldn't go. And then eventually the invitations they stop, and you feel more and more lonely. And then when you reach out to others from that place of loneliness, you're reaching out for your sake. Your anxiety and your loneliness, they are a constant tug of war, let's say like that. Loneliness, it rises, and then you reach out. Why? Because you're alone. You wanna have people around you. You wanna get rid of that feeling of loneliness. But then social anxiety rises higher, and then you retreat. Even though you are with other people, you can be with other people, but then you suddenly retreat. I used to be like that. I used to be with people, and then like I don't want to be with them. Like, let me just go home. I just want to go home. I want to retreat. I have the problem of not being able to ride, like to drive. So that would be fun because I would be dependent on other people to either go home or not, and that would be sometimes bad for me because I would want to go home, and then I was kind of forced to stay. But then I would not be completely present. And I do get what you mean. Like loneliness sometimes makes you just don't want to be with people. Sometimes you are in your room and while the people are laughing and talking to each other, you are in the room and then you isolate yourself. You ghost the person sometimes. Or even worse, you don't have anyone who actually sends you a message. You don't have anyone who visits you. You don't have anyone that actually shows care about you. Hey, how are you doing? Are you doing well? Like, I love you. I care about you. Like, you don't have anyone saying that to you. Maybe just your parents, if they are actual, like, good parents. Because I know some of you might have parents that are not good for you. Sometimes they abused you or they didn't show love. Sometimes you didn't feel loved with your parents. That's also why you might be feeling lonely because you cannot trust them. You cannot be vulnerable to them. Even though they are the people who love you the most, you still feel like, I don't know what it is, but there's something blocking you. Like you just can't. And I know exactly how it feels. But the way out is not what you expect. Now, let's talk about the thing that's gonna really fix everything. There are really two levels of overcoming loneliness. The outer game and the inner game. Let's start with the outer game. It is the practical stuff. So, talk to more people. Now. Start now, like force yourself, like drag yourself. If you're a man, like grab those 2 nuts you have and grab yourself and go. If you're a woman, just like go. Just go. Start small. Like just say hi, just say hello and say goodbye. Like when you are in a loneliness rut, how do you get out of a rut? How do you start going to the gym? How do you do stuff? You first start small and then you build up. Because if you try to build up, you feel like a social mental burnout and then you just go back to level 0. So you have to elevate your standards. Start talking to more, and that will take time. But progress always takes time. The moment you think things are gonna change in one day, then you're ruined. Because even if you do think that way, there's still so much to learn and improve in your life. Getting out of loneliness, it's sometimes that one moment where you find a person, where you talk to the person and you feel a connection, chemistry, connection, and you feel that there is someone. You don't feel lonely anymore, right? You don't feel lonely anymore. What a joy. But then you feel lonely again. Why? Because even though that happened with that person, you still have something blocking you from continuously connecting with that person. I have people like I talk to and was a a lot of maybe talking and it was good and etc. But then I stopped talking to those people. And they also did not reach out to me again. And then, even though I had a good relationship with them, I continually felt lonely again. But what I mean by talking to more people is not necessarily at a networking event, it's not on a dating app, it's not like necessarily at the grocery store. It's not necessarily cold approaching. You know what cold approaching is? Like someone is doing whatever the person is doing, and then you just approach the person and you say something, and then you start talking to a random person. It's not that. You already know a lot of people, and I know you do. Like if you are 20 years old, you probably know like at least like I say 100 people. You probably know at least 100 people, or like at least 20 people. I don't know. But you could be talking to people on the way. You don't necessarily have to be on a grocery store and talk to the person there. But that is a good idea. That's not a bad idea. For example, you are buying your groceries, choosing them, then you see someone and then you do a commentary. Then you start talking about your life, and then you make a new friend. Yay! You go to a coffee shop, maybe you meet someone there. Or like you go to those events and then you meet people there. And you see that you have chemistry with that person. Great. And maybe you go to a concert, or maybe you even go to church. Church is such a good thing, honestly. Even if you're not a Christian, try to go to church. And you'll see such a loving people in there. You'll see incredible people in there. If you feel lonely, I would try going to church often. If you are between 20 and 30, in your 20s, I would try to go to those young adults events. They're crazy good. Some churches, for example, my church, I have a young adults program called Good Company, where people come together and then they talk about a lot of things. That's also where I got the ideas for this. You could also talk at a bus stop. You could also talk at your workplace or even at home to your parents. Why don't you start with your parents first, or with your brother or sister? That is a good thing, because family makes it easier because they already love you. Like even if they don't get along with you, they must love you because they are your family. Like there is not a big of a choice there. Some people still choose to hate the other person, but most of the time your family members will love you, or at least like you. A Cambridge researcher, he found out that most powerful things lonely people can do is start making small and real conversations with the people they are already walking past every day. You see that man there, and then the next day you see that man again, and you see that man again. Why don't you just talk to that person at least once? Hey, or you already have someone you know. You're not feeling completely lonely anymore, because the person will see you and maybe the person will greet you. That's great, right? You may have the cashier, the bus driver, the person at the Dell counter. So many options, right? But here is the trick you should get it. It's not just small talk and small talk for the sake of it. The problem is small talk. That's another problem. That's another thing you should get to overcome loneliness. I have found that it's one of the best things you can do is not small talking, but actually spending freaking time with the person. Spend time with the person. Spend freaking time with the person, like 1 hour. That's how you build connection and relationships. Not like 2 seconds, 5 seconds, bro. 2 minutes. That's not even enough. Like you can, of course, talk for 2 minutes and you see, oh, the person we have a good connection there. But it's still not enough. You must spend more time. You must go out with someone. You must have a phone call or even a physical conversation. like 1 hour, like 40 minutes, or even like 2 or 3 hours. And you will see that that will change a lot, because sometimes it's just, you're just having small talks and not talking at all to the person. That is one of the biggest. Like I told you before, phone and distractions, that can be very hard. But also, if you're just on the surface level, that will make you feel lonely, because you need connection, and connection always requires roots, and it requires a deep level of conversation and relationship. If you only are like at the surface level, then you can't do much. Sometimes those connections will come from deep relationship, or it will come from a lot of things in common. Hey, you like this, I like this as well. You had this problem, I also have this problem. And then the third thing is also the activities you do. For example, you might play a sport a lot with that person, or you might be playing games with that person a lot, or you might like be doing a crazy activity like, oh, I don't know, let's go on a mountain and hike, or let's do like mountain biking, or whatever it is. Playing chess a lot, or that person. That's also why, for example, you have rivals. They not only respect each other, they also be friends. Why? Because they always see each other, and then they have each other in their minds. So that there is a certain connection in them, even if they don't speak much one to another. And that's very important. Those three things you should focus on to deepen your connection. That's way beyond small talk. Like, you have small talk that can help, yes, but if you have a deep conversation, if you spend time like doing something for a long time with the person, like it can even be playing video games, that's already good. But like something with more value, for example, listening to the person talking about their story, talking about life, talking about past experiences, that's great. So having deep conversations and spending a lot of time in activities, and also having a lot in common, that can also help, like a lot of chemistry, like at first glance. Let's say, like people say, I love at first glance, like chemistry at first talk, at first interaction. That is great, but you should focus. You should focus on getting past the surface level. That is one of the key things. Remove distractions, start talking more to people, and avoid only small talks. If you see that a person is an interesting person, invest time. That will change. So, even if you do those small talks, you should actually engage in them. Sometimes you'll do small talks with people, and just sometimes you'll do deeper experiences and talks. Sometimes you're just like, once every 2 months you have like a deep time with the person. But in those small talks, which are normal, like you do small talks probably every day. So in those small talks, especially with people you already engaged with, like when I say engage, is like connected with, engage with them, ask something, share something, and here is the key: share your actual opinion. Don't be too biased. No, share your actual opinion. If someone brings up a topic and you have a real thought about it, say it, man. The research is clear. When we take the risk to say what is actually on our mind, that's when the connections start to grow and to become something. That's if you want to make something out of the surface level. But like I said, the best thing is combining that surface level with the deep level. If you have both, then it's going to be great, because every time you encounter the person, it's going to be something great. Every time you encounter the person, it's going to be incredible. You're going to connect. And the connection is not just about finding the right person. It's also about showing up as the real you. Authenticity. That's something extremely important. Even in the small moments, that's also when you feel less lonely. Because sometimes if you wear that mask, that's why I told you in the beginning, be vulnerable. Because if you are vulnerable, that mask will only show up for some people, but for other people, the ones you want to actually be friends with, you put off that mask and then you'll feel like you're the genuine you, and that will change your life. Now, create rituals of connection. Like I said before, talk to more people and then make it deeper every time you talk, and have opportunities to talk about deeper things and experience deeper things. But we have here a TED speaker who told a story about how she and her friends built an anchor. I'm reading here because I cannot remember exactly, but those were Monday nights on the couch, for example, leggings, having good conversation without phones, no agenda, and also they would show up every week. So if you want to make those connections deeper and make it even deeper, don't just like have a one time where you talk where you talk about deeper topics, or where you have deeper experiences with the person. Oh, let's go like skiing, nice, or let's go to the park or whatever. Make a ritual out of it. Hey, let's call each other every Saturday. Let's like go to that place every day at that time, or every week. That will create a connection, a deep bond. And you see that helps so much, because if you actually create a routine, a ritual, that will strengthen it even more, and new loneliness will start to fade away. It is action with intention, it is routine, it is habit. And then that person will actually be in your life. Not just appear once in there, but intentionally be in your life, chosen by you. You see the power in that? Now, reach out to someone else. It is for their sake, not for your sake. What do I mean by that? It is kind of counterintuitive, because before I told you, you reach someone else out for your sake, but here it is for someone else's sake. When you reach out to fight your own loneliness, you're still the center of the story. Everything is about you. No, it's not about you. You're not that special. It means that every social anxiety spike sends you retreating. Retreat, 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 retreat. Man, when you reach out because you genuinely want to know how someone else is doing, then the whole dynamic changes. You're not protecting yourself anymore. You're serving someone. This week, being practical here, reach out to 3 people. You can do that. You can text message. You can like go and talk to the person. Like there are so many ways. Like even if you just send a reel, that's already reaching out. But if you send a reel, or like an Instagram or TikTok or YouTube Shorts, whatever it is, to someone, also like write something extra. Hey, about the reel or about the person. The reel is just a tool, or the video is just a tool for you to connect with the person. But actually like write something as a context. Like you use the video as a context for what you're gonna say. That's something also you could use. But at least like say hello, how are you doing, or like to check in, and generally mean it. Like ask something that you genuinely want to know about the person. Hey, I remember you told me about that trip you were gonna do. How did it go? Like anything. A lot of times, especially if you are lonely, people will tell you hints of things, but will not tell the complete story. Why don't you try to search more about it by asking those questions? And you'll see that it's gonna start to be more interesting. Especially if you also not only ask questions, but also like sometimes say something. It's really good, really good. Now we have the inner game. The outer game is having friends with you. That is great. But now we have the inner one. When you are alone, you'll feel lonely. Why? Because you should ask yourself, am I someone I enjoy being alone with? Do you enjoy your own company? Because it shouldn't be like torture. It shouldn't be felt like suffering. You should be at peace, even alone. Maybe it's because you think too negatively about your past, about your failures, about maybe who you are, or you compare yourself with other people, have a lot of anxiety about tomorrow, and that's why you cannot enjoy your own company. That's why I have always to be on Instagram, on TikTok, because if you stop, then you start thinking about negative stuff. It's not just you, man. It's not just you. A lot of people are like that. And of course, let's say about relationships, men and women. You're gonna cling to whatever relationship comes because you just don't want to stay alone. You don't want to be lonely. Or whatever friendship there is because you don't want to feel lonely. And that is a danger because you can be influenced by other people and they can really wreck up your life. They can really make you worse than you were before. They can break you. They can make you suffer. Or they can plant negative thoughts and beliefs in your mind. But you accept it anyway because everything is better than being lonely. It doesn't matter. Right? The people who are least lonely in the world, they are not the most extroverted ones. Being introverted is not being lonely. It's so good to be introverted. It has like a lot of advantages. Being extroverted is also amazing. It has a lot of advantages. It's fine. You can be the most popular person in the room and still feel lonely. You can be extroverted and still be lonely. So it does not mean anything. In the outside, it may seem you're not, but on the inside, what you actually think and feel like, that may be different. So don't think, hey, the person is extroverted, the person is not lonely. The person may be lonely as much as you are. So start thinking about your past, about your relationships, and about everything you did, and also about every decision you took, like those bad decisions. You don't enjoy yourself, your own company, because you start thinking about the past and then you have negative thoughts about yourself, self doubt. But say to yourself, every time you encounter those thoughts, that was a bad choice, that was a bad decision. I learned from it. It made me grow, it made me better. And I am human. I am a human. I make mistakes. But now I'm working towards not being that person anymore. I am not the person anymore. This behavior, even if it happens again, it does not define me. I am not that behavior. I am not that thought. I can move forward. You can grow. That's the thing. There is also the perfectionism trap. There is a philosopher called Lars Svensson. He found out that chronically lonely people, they will be social perfectionists. They are very likely to be social perfectionists. They hold such impossible standards for friendship that no human, you had to be an alien in order to be in that standard, can ever meet them. You see the friend, you see the first thing you see are the flaws. Then, oh, you don't go with that person. We are human. You have flaws, I have flaws, everyone has flaws. Some people say that love is the ability of seeing the negative side, and even though you know the flaws of someone, you still accept the person, you still love the person, you decide to love the person. That's a lot about love, right? Love is so great. So we have a new section now, and we will go deeper than everything. And if you stay here, you'll see that everything will make sense. Because those techniques, I told you, they're cool. The inner game, the outer game, the no distractions, the talking to more people and going deeper. That is amazing. That is great. But there is something underneath all of that that is not filled. A hole, an empty hole that cannot be filled. And if you can fill that hole, it is a foundation all the rest will be just better. Because the thing you hear is, I do have people around me. I I do talk more to them, and I do engage in conversation, etc. But if I did not have that thing right now, that would not be worth it. Because before I did have that thing, but I didn't actually went for it. But now that I'm going for it, everything just feels better. Even when you're happy, even when your relationships are good, are excellent, there is still that kind of ache that doesn't quite go away. It's not physical. It's something on your in your soul. It's like your soul has a pain, has a hole, an emptiness that needs to be filled. There's a guy called Dr. Charles Stanley. He spent decades counseling people through loneliness. And he put it like this: there is not anything under God's creation, all of it together, that can satisfy an emptiness in your life that only Jesus Christ can satisfy. That's not a line to dismiss. It is pointing at something different, but also something real. It's real. You can say whatever you want, but if you have ever experienced the power of Jesus Christ in your life, you can guarantee me that what I'm talking here is true. There is a guy called Blaise Pascal. He called it a God-shaped vacuum, an emptiness that is built into every human being. It is designed not for another person to fill, but for the infinite to fill it. The infinite source of energy is Jesus Christ. Every person you've tried to build your life around eventually disappointed you. They failed you, they did not keep their promise, or they lied to you, or they betrayed you, or they did a mistake. They forgot something. Can be whatever it is. But it was not because they were bad, but it was because they were human. They fail. Like I said before, humans fail. They were never designed to carry the full weight of your need to belonging. It's one person here, one person there, but your need to belonging is much deeper. That weight was meant for someone else. And we have the final section, the real answer. Why do I have light here? Because that answer is light. Here is what I believe, and I will tell you why. Jesus Christ, he wasn't a comfortable, distant figure who floated above human pain. Of course not. We have Isaiah 53. It calls him a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. He was despised, dude. He was despised. He was rejected. He knew isolation more than anyone because he had to face it in order to save us. Isolation, loneliness.